Okay, trying to get this recording going. Okay, now it's going. Okay, hi everyone. We're on our fifth Esoteric Astrology Adventure, making our way through the introduction of this book. I will repeat a little bit of what I ended with last time. Let's see, what page are we on here? That might help everybody to know. Okay. We seem to be on page 9. Okay. So we reached the point where we said that the next point to grasp, the next point for each of you to grasp, is the fact that the ether of space is the field in and through which the energies from the many originating sources play. And this is with a capital S, so the sources are great beings indeed. And the last time we talked, we discussed the idea that the ether is not simply the systemic ether. It is also the cosmic ethers. And we showed a little map here. And yes, I think you can see it from here, but I'll make it a bit bigger by choosing chart number 8, provided we can move there. Seems a little slow here. I'm always using slightly different speeds of internet. But here are the systemic ethers, the 4 of them, the physical ethers. And here are the cosmic ethers. And the cosmic ethers are still very important to us because the higher parts of our spiritual nature toward which we are aspiring are parts of the cosmic ethers. So DK is talking about the flow of zodiacal energies through the ethers, and since it is said sometimes that the planets influence the personality, it doesn't always say this, that the zodiac influences the soul, the zodiacal constellations, it doesn't always say that, sometimes higher, and that the 3 great constellations, which he refers to as the Great Bear, the Pleiades, and Sirius, influence the monad. Well, we find that the soul is adjacent to the cosmic ethers and is directly influenced by them, by the spiritual triad, which is focused on the cosmic ethers, and the monad certainly is on the second level of the cosmic ethers. So the cosmic ethers are very important as well as the systemic ethers. He says we are therefore concerned with the etheric body of the planet, of the solar system, and of the 7 solar systems of which ours is one. That being the cosmic logos, who includes 7 major solar systems of which our system is one, as well as with the general and vaster etheric body of the universe in which we are located. And we understand that the word universe, let's use this little beep here, that the word universe can mean a local universe and not the entire vastness of cosmos. So that's where we left off last time. And DK says he's employing the word located here. I employ the word located here with deliberation and because of the inferences to which it leads. We may think that the Arupa planes have no form, and these are the usual Arupa planes, beginning with the higher mental plane and going on up through the logoid plane, but indeed they do have form and they have cosmic location. Let's just say that if we can talk about our own etheric body as if it has diverse chakras, nadis, streams, meridians, all of these factors which have location, then we can talk about the cosmic etheric body as if it too has location within it, and as if we and other units of life and consciousness can be located within that etheric body, because after all, the etheric body is physical, and the cosmic ethers are part of the cosmic physical plane. Okay. Now, this vaster field, as well as the smaller and more localized fields, provides the medium of transmission for all the energies which play upon and through our solar system, our planetary spheres, and all forms of life upon these spheres. So we are talking about the solar systemic ethers, which certainly do include the cosmic ethers. We're talking about the planetary ethers, which again include the cosmic ethers, and all the etheric body of all forms of life upon those planetary spheres. This is an important point. We're told that this field, it forms one unbroken field of activity in constant, ceaseless motion, an eternal medium for the exchange and transmission of energies, and may I say of all kinds of energies. And I think we can see why the sign Aquarius is particularly associated with the etheric body of all kinds, because Aquarius is a sign of constant and ceaseless motion, and I should add to that the sign Gemini as well, because there we have another one of the air signs, and the four cosmic ethers and even the systemic ethers are particularly associated as a whole with the element of air. These are very fluid signs of rapid transmission. And so Aquarius and Gemini should be considered in relation to this etheric field of constant, ceaseless motion. Let's see, I wonder if I can, just a little experiment, okay? This is a spotlight. Now, it's good for showing the things that I'm talking about, but it may not be so good for actually getting movement on the screen. No, it's not so good. So we'll go back to the normal cursor here and see if later we can use this spotlight. Okay. Now we move down. In connection with this, and in order more correctly to understand, it will be useful to study individual man. Well, it's always useful to work the law of analogy. As above, so below, and to a somewhat more limited degree, as below, so above. In this way, we can arrive at a faint comprehension of the basic and underlying truth. Students should never forget the law of analogy as an interpretive agency. Well, I'm reminded that DK said that it was very important, the fourth ray mind especially, was very important in his work. And the fourth ray is one of the most analogically astute of the rays. That doesn't mean that on all the other rays we cannot find analogies, but the fourth ray tends to think very much in terms of analogy. The law of correspondences is an aspect of the law of analogy which is perhaps more exact and more meticulous in the comparison of detail between one level and another. Perhaps analogies tend to be a little broader, and correspondences tend to be rather more exact. Esotericism teaches, and modern science is rapidly arriving at the same conclusion, that underlying the physical body and its comprehensive and intricate system of nerves is a vital or etheric body, which is the counterpart of the true form of the outer and tangible phenomenal aspect. Well, in many respects, even the physical body can be considered to be, the dense physical body can be considered to be phenomenal. But it's just a matter of comparison here. The etheric body we assume as a reality. We all do. Some of us perhaps have seen portions of the etheric body around people and maybe through people. It's a change of the focusing of the eye helps us see the etheric body with clarity. If you somewhat blur your eye a little bit and do not seek for it to achieve a sharp focus, the light of the etheric body will sometimes manifest itself, and especially in what I would call the semi-darkness. In the bright light of day, it is perhaps not as easily perceivable, and maybe in pitch black it is not either, but there is something about this twilight which I think promotes the ability of the human eye to see the etheric body. And he did say that that ability would be increasing rapidly towards the end of the just past century and into this century, and the ethers themselves would become more energized and thereby allow more ready perception of their nature. Now, whether we have, it's sometimes said that the dense physical body is built portion for portion, cell for cell, even atom for atom upon the etheric body. We'd have to research that. It may be an exact counterpart in some respects, but for us to have an atom for atom correspondence, this would be an interesting proposition to research. Suffice it to say, the dense physical body is the outer expression in a quite meticulous way of the structure of the inner etheric mechanism. So, okay, underlying the physical body and its comprehensive and intricate system of nerves is the vital body, and the nadis are, the little energy currents within the etheric body are the direct prototype of the nerves themselves. And I imagine there is a one-to-one correspondence between these energy streams or nadis and the dense physical nerves. It is likewise the medium for the transmission of force to all parts of the human frame, and the agent of the indwelling life and consciousness. Well, we can see that the principle of circulation is vital to the etheric body, and where the circulation of the prana and etheric energy fails, we will have congestion, or we will have a dearth of energy in the dense physical body. So we are reminded again of the idea of circulatory flow. The sign of circulatory flow is Aquarius, and the sign associated with what is called the divine circulatory flow is Aquarius. And during this Aquarian age, we will see developed in health circles the proper means of promoting the right circulation of the ethers, of the prana, within the etheric body. Okay, so this is a question of health, and if there are any portions of the human frame that do not receive the transmission of force, those portions will be unhealthy. And if we look at the etheric body of humanity, and look at all of us as perhaps, in a way, cells within the human body of humanity, the body of humanity, then we will see that if there fails to be right circulation to all of the cells that do not receive the correct proportion of circulation will be unhealthy. I think this tells us a lot about our financial system today and extreme wealth, beside the most horrible type of poverty. We have an unhealthy etheric body that is underlying the physical body of all the human race. Okay, so this etheric body, it determines the condition of the physical body, for it is itself the repository and the transmitter of energy from the various subjective aspects of man, and also from the environment in which man, both inner and outer man, finds himself. So the etheric body can carry many different kinds of energies. They interpenetrate one another. The question is, can units of differentiated energy occupy the same space? I suppose this involves a scientific principle called the Pauli exclusion principle, and it suggests that no two atoms can occupy the same space. But now we're talking about different types of dimensions and the possibility of interpenetration of grosser energies by subtler energies. And since atoms are largely space anyway, that type of interpenetration is certainly possible. So we are carrying in our etheric body all manner of energies. The undeveloped man is carrying largely physical and emotional energies, but the more developed man will carry mental energies, and the aspirant, disciple, and so forth, the initiate, will carry in the etheric body interpenetrating soul energies and triadal energies and even monadic energies, all within this bioelectric field that is the prototype of the dense physical body. So pranas of different kinds can circulate, and when you think about, if you think about this, let's see what we got here. Think about this map. The Buddhic energy is a type of cosmic prana. Atmic energy is a type of cosmic prana. Even monadic energy is a type of cosmic prana, and so for logoic energy. So when we think of the term prana, we must not only think in systemic terms and localize our thought about prana to the four systemic ethers. It's more than that, and in a way, far more than that. Okay, so this is about the etheric body. It is the tangible, it is the medium beneath the tangible physical body, and to people of subtle consciousness, the etheric body is also tangible itself. Two other points should here be added. First, the individual etheric body is not an isolated and separated human vehicle, but in a peculiar sense, an integral part of the etheric body of that entity we have called the human family. Well, this is such an important point. You know, egoism tells us that we are different from every human being, and we are isolated individuals, and we tend to act like isolated individuals at times. But the deeper understanding of occultism shows us that there are lines of influx and efflux between every etheric body of every human being and the entire etheric body of the entire human family. So there really is a great circulation occurring between all etheric bodies. There is a flow, and we are touched by what every other human being on this planet does. We are touched in some small measure. By some human beings, we are more touched because they are proximate to us. They are resonant with us, harmonious with us. They are important in our lives. But there's not one human being that does not in some way affect every other. So the old principle is touch one, touch all. Okay, so there is no such thing as an isolated, separated etheric vehicle. But the human kingdom is one entity with one etheric body, and of course it is not isolated either. It's simply one of 7 kingdoms in the expression of the planetary life, and it even goes beyond the planet, the solar logoic life, and everything is interpenetrating and flowing one into another. So the illusion of separation, or what DK calls the one great heresy, the great heresy of separateness, is indeed an extraordinary illusion by which so many human beings are captivated, and it is profoundly untrue. We have a great influence on our environment, and it does on us. And we cannot help but have that influence because there is a flow between every etheric unit and every other. So this kingdom of nature, this human kingdom, through its etheric body, is an integral part of the planetary etheric body. He's saying this. Okay. The planetary etheric body is not separated off from the etheric body of the other planets, but all of them in their totality, along with the etheric body of the sun, constitute the etheric body of the solar system. Okay, let's go back to this. And this is related to the etheric bodies of the 6 solar systems which with ours form a cosmic unity, as I said, a cosmic logos. And into these pour the energies and the forces from certain great constellations. Now, these great constellations are even greater than that of a cosmic logos. You know, I tend to notice things I've never noticed before. I highly recommend reading through these books with meticulous entirety, you know, and just connecting via the intuitive powers of Mercury, all the different parts with each other. So there is a cosmic unity, a cosmic logos. We looked at that in a treatise on cosmic fire, page 293. And then beyond that comes something called the unknown, which I think we could safely call the one about whom naught may be said. What we usually mean when we use the word the one about whom naught may be said. And it is itself a great constellation. Of course, within it are a number of great constellations, let us say Draco and Orion and the Little Bear and the Sirian system and 7 of the Pleiades and so forth. They are all within this etheric body of the one about whom naught may be said. But this being itself is a constellation. It is a gathering together of many different sub-gatherings, sub-aggregations, sub-constellations, and it forms one great constellation, and who knows in the body of what? Perhaps a sub-parabrahmanic logos, and then those types of greater constellations form a constellation in the body of a cosmic parabrahman, which itself is a constellation. So holes within holes within holes. This is we're studying the system of holism. And ultimately we will find that the most minute part of any living whole is the whole itself. But of course that's a big leap, and we'll have to meditate our way into that type of understanding. The field of space is etheric in nature, and its vital body is composed of the totality of etheric bodies of all constellations, solar systems, and planets found within. So the whole field of space, we're talking about the etheric body of the universal logos. And maybe, you know, every once in a while it wouldn't hurt to write something in, if I can. Let's see, maybe I'll write it in red. And I'll say this, the etheric body of the universal logos. And we'll see whether this is the way I do it when I teach a class. It takes a little time to type, of course, but sometimes when people read these things later, it makes sense, makes more sense. All right, so this is the cosmic universal etheric body, and he calls it the cosmic golden web. Throughout this cosmic golden web, there is a constant circulation of energies and forces, and this constitutes the scientific basis of the astrological theories. So everything is flowing through the etheric web. All energies, in no matter how attenuated a manner, touch all other energies. And when we're studying esoteric astrology, we want to know what those constellations are. Even a galaxy is a vast constellation, and a grouping of galaxies is itself a constellation of galaxies. So the energy of the One flows through the cosmic golden web. I think that would be worth underlining, the cosmic golden web. And, of course, we have only the slightest idea of these many sources. We're pretty much confined within the system of the one about whom naught may be said, which have certain constellations familiar to us. That's the only type of system that we can deal with qualitatively, and which has a kind of an impact upon us, which actually changes the condition of our planet, changes our solar system, and even changes the tiny individual. Beyond that, one about whom naught can be said, we can speculate, of course, but qualitatively, it doesn't mean a whole lot to us. We can't even touch the higher energies of our planet, yet alone the other planets, many of whom are sacred, yet alone the solar logos, and yet alone the 6 other solar systems, which make 7 solar systems, of which ours is one. And so when we start thinking about certain neighboring constellations, like Orion, like Draco, like Little Bear, like Great Bear, and so forth, which are all chakras in our local one about whom naught may be said, we receive their energies in a very mediated manner through certain Davic streams which are harmonically attuned to them. But we do not receive unmediated energies through the etheric chakras of the one about whom naught may be said. So how can we go beyond that, ring past naught, except speculatively in the mind? Just as the forces of the planet and of the inner spiritual man, to mention only one factor of many, pour through the etheric body of the individual man upon the physical plane, and condition his outer expression, activities, and qualities, so do the varying forces of the universe, and by that maybe he means the entirety, the great entirety, pour through every part of the etheric body of that entity we call space. Yes, he's definitely speaking here of space as the universal entity, which could have many names. I call it often the universal logos. So just as our higher aspects and certain higher planetary forces pour through our etheric body, so do the varying forces of the universe pour through every part of that entity we call space. Now, he's not saying we can know what these are. We cannot yet, although the masters know a great deal more than we do. They even know the names of some of the local galaxies and their qualities. This is hinted at in the treatise on cosmic fire. They somehow have been able to determine the qualities of these galactic sources. Now, what they can do with that information, I really don't know, but it's certainly nice to know. So anyway, these varying forces of the universe pour through every part of the etheric body of that entity we call space, and condition and determine the outer expression, the activities and qualities of every form found within the cosmic periphery. And I think, what he's saying there is that there's not a single more tangible form which is not conditioned, its shape and its relations, by less tangible energies. So energy underlies all forms, and the nature of the energies, of the underlying energies, determine the nature of the forms. So we always have to look within. We always have to read the form through what is called spiritual reading. You know, everything is a symbol. Every human face is a symbol, let us say, not just of a physical nature, but actually of the man himself and even of the soul nature. And who knows, perhaps there are those who can read the face and form in such a way that it reveals the monadic nature as well. So let us never be satisfied with superficial reading. Let us enter into spiritual reading, and let us learn what is called on the third subplane of the mental plane, spiritual discernment. This is the level where I have my cursor here, or now, let's see, how about that red spotlight? Right here, spiritual discernment allows us to read the inner nature of forms and understand the energy patterns which underlie those forms. So all of life is a great book, and I have quite a notion to turn to esoteric astrology here, if I may, and look up something that's called, whoa, that wasn't good. We'll call it the Book of Living Forms, and maybe we'll find something. No, we're not going to find that. Okay. Let's see, the Book of Life. How about that? There should be one. All right. Let's see how that looks. All right. And here we have the 3 books that I wanted us to know something about. The Book of Life is read by initiates, and the 12 constellations of the zodiac, which are the 12 petals in the heart, in the head center of the one about whom naught may be said. Okay, that's who can read the Book of Life, the initiates. The Book of Wisdom, we, as aspiring disciples, are trying to learn to read, and they are connected with the 12 planets. The Book of Form, or of Manifestation, this is related to more ordinary humanity that is not yet aspiring, and the 12 creative hierarchies, which we will be discussing in some detail, are related to this Book of Form. It is the monads within these hierarchies wielding certain types of qualities and energies which produce the manifested forms. Okay, so that's on page 23 of Esoteric Astrology, and who knows, we may be there by next year. You never can tell. All right. Now, back to where we were. So space is a vast entity. Everything is alive. All energies are in constant motion. Every entity radiates and produces rays and emanations. These emanations touch all other emanations, and they combine with other emanations and make various unities and combinations, and thus quality combines with quality, and we have the vast qualitative variety of our, not only our solar system and local cosmos, but of the whole universe. This is what DK seems to be suggesting at this time. The second point I would like to make, what was the first point? That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Trouble is, as you start to expand on these various points, 2 other points. Okay, here's the other point. First, the individual etheric body is not isolated. Okay, so that is the one of the points he is making. And now we have another point coming up. All right. The second point I would like to make is that within the human etheric body, there are to be found 7 major force centers. See, now that's not news to us, is it? Even though probably we don't go around seeing the centers in all exactitude, this idea of the 7 centers is a common thought in occultism, and it's just like saying that there are 7 major planets in every solar system and 7 major suns in every cosmic logoic system and 7 major constellations in every super cosmic logoic system. So there's always 7 major, but quite a number of minor and maybe 3 super major, we might say. So anyway, 7 major force centers, which are in the nature of distributing agencies and electrical batteries. They must have storage potential, and they must need to be charged, and they must keep us going, providing dynamic force and qualitative energy to the man. So through our chakric system comes the various qualities which distinguish us, and probably because some of our chakras are more energized than others, certain of the qualities pouring through these energized chakras are of greater prominence in our system than the others. But, you know, we all have all the qualities. We all have all the rays. We all have all the planets. We all have all of the expressions of all the signs of the zodiac. Really, we are holographic in that respect. We all have every quality in the universe, but oftentimes very, very tenuously expressed. Okay, so they are in the nature of distributing agents and electrical batteries. They produce definite effects upon his outer physical manifestation, and I would say, since there are chakras, what is an outer physical manifestation? It's not just the dense physical body. It is in the most common sense. But our astral body is part of our outer physical manifestation, and so is our mental body, because they are all taking place within the dense physical body of the planetary logos. So it's outer in that respect, and there are chakras on all of those levels, astral and mental as well. And I theorize that there are chakras in every one of our vehicles, including our triadal vehicles. I think they can be found on the triadal planes, 35 energy centers of force make the master, and that implies chakras. And I think that 42 centers of force make the Chohan, and 49 centers of force, or maybe almost that many, make the Chohan of the seventh degree. So these chakras, they produce definite effects upon our outer physical manifestation. We've just considered that for the moment, the outer physical, the shell. But be aware that our astral body and our mental body are not really subjective at all. They are subtle, but they are not subjective. Our subjectivity begins with the soul on the higher mental plane. Through their constant activity, his quality appears. His ray tendencies begin to emerge, and his point in evolution is clearly indicated. So I talked about the emerging quality because according to your ray formula, so the different chakras, let us say, in our etheric vehicle, so will they be activated. So through the activation of the chakras, the ray tendencies are made manifest. And through the degree of unfoldment and development of the chakras, our point in evolution is clearly indicated, because, well, let's say the lower chakras unfold more rapidly than the higher chakras sooner in evolution, and the little evolved human being will have the higher chakras active, otherwise he could not live, but they will not be unfolded, and certainly their full unfoldment is not to be seen until a later point in the evolutionary process. The whole thing about how chakras unfold and when they unfold is a tremendous science, and one day we will be able to study the whole range of human beings with some acuity, some real sharp intelligence, and we will be able to discuss the degree of chakric unfoldment for every level of human spiritual unfoldment. So we will know how the form and the inner spiritual unfoldment correlate. Okay. Now let's move to the next paragraph, because the chakras reveal the quality of the man and the ray tendency and his point in evolution. And think about your own chakras, you know, which are the ones which are most fully unfolded, and what is their comparison? I mean, could you rank your chakras in terms of percentage of unfoldment, as DK did in the case of this disciple, BSD. Let's see, if I were to, I'll just turn this off for a minute. Okay, here is from Discipleship of the New Age, Volume 1. DK is analyzing for an individual who is a third-ray soul, a sixth-ray personality, a fifth-ray mind, a sixth-ray astral body, and a third-ray physical body, the relative unfoldment of the major chakras. He's left the sacral and base of the spine out because we're not so concerned with those for different reasons. And he's ranked them, hasn't he? And not one of them is the same. The least unfolded is this man's chakra, Ajna center, and the most unfolded is his solar plexus center. He is a sixth-ray personality and a sixth-ray astral body. And his throat center is, he's a third-ray soul, is quite awakened. And he's an up-and-coming disciple who's a teacher, probably a second-ray monad. His heart center is 50% awakened, and so forth. So we can, in fact, gauge the activity of our chakric system. We can gauge it by the sense of feel. Now, the master can look at the chakras and actually see the percentage of their development, the degree to which the petals of the lotus are unfolded. All right, so moving on. The control of form, this control of form through a septonate of energies, as it is defined in the old commentary, is an unalterable rule in the inner government of our universe and of our particular solar system, as well as in the case of individual man. We really don't know what he means when he says universe. He says it in many different ways and contexts, and when he says our universe, it begins to sound rather more local, the universe which pertains to our solar system. But sometimes when he says the word the universe, we would think of it as the entirety of the cosmos. Anyway, there is a control through a septonate of energies, which is why all of us should learn more about the seven rays, so we can not only detect their presence in ourselves and in those with whom we associate, but so that we can wield them, so that we can transmit them according to need. And this will be a form of active service, I think, upon the atmic plane, and it will be a type of healing and a type of supplementation of any need that needs to be fulfilled. So as we are studying the esoteric astrology, the study of the seven rays goes hand in glove. We cannot avoid it. We must pay equally as much attention to it. It's a unified study, as well as the study of the chakras and all of that included within the great esoteric psychology, of which a treatise on cosmic fire is the most recent expression. The psychological key to the secret doctrine, as DK has said. So control through a septonate of energies. There are, for instance, in our solar system, 7 sacred planets, which correspond to the 7 individual force centers in man. Of course, the correspondence is not always easy to work out. There are variations, and he gives different types of lists. But generally, you know, you can make certain approximations. Some planets and sacred planets can be associated with more than one center. Certainly, a sacred planet and a non-sacred planet can each rule the same center. So 7 sacred planets which correspond to the 7 individual force centers in man. The 7 solar systems, of which our solar system is one, and in their turn, the 7 energy centers of the one to whom I have referred in my other books as the one about whom naught can be said. Sometimes he says can be said, which means that we couldn't possibly say anything real about it. And sometimes he says the one about whom not may be said, which means we should not say anything. And we probably say too much. This is a fantastic sentence. 7 solar systems, there are, for instance, in our solar system 7 circuit planets. Okay, they correspond to the 7 individual force centers in man. The 7 solar systems, of which our solar system is one, and in their turn, the 7 energies, the 7